Okay, so like imagine you're walking downtown, right? Phone's buzzing, you're trying to, handle business, and suddenly, bam, this incredible building stops you in your tracks. We're talking gleaming glass, steel everywhere, the kind of lobby that makes you want to whisper. That's a Class A office building, my friend. The top dog of commercial real estate.
And you know what gets me? It's not just about looking impressive. Everything about these buildings, I mean everything, is designed to pull in a specific type of tenant.
You're preaching to the choir. Prime locations, every amenity you can imagine. Heck, some of these places have yoga studios, even doggy daycare. It's wild.
They got to stay ahead of the game, right? Those Class A buildings, they're after the big fish. Companies that want their office to scream success attract the best talent. Think like the Googles, the Apples of the world.
Yeah.
Even thinking back to Michael Linton's work right here in Chicago, it's clear those high-end touches bring in those top-tier clients.
Like, come for the views, stay for the, I don't know, the kombucha bar or whatever. But get, those super tall skyscrapers. They are always Class A, which blew my mind. I figured height automatically equaled top tier.
See, that's where it gets interesting. Age.
Yeah.
A skyscraper from way back when, even if it's in perfect shape, it might not have all the tech, the eco-friendly stuff that a brand new building has. Those things matter.
So it's not just being tall, it's about moving with the times. Which, speaking of, let's talk Class B buildings. Those are the ones most of us probably spend our days in.
The backbone of the market, you could say. Maybe a little older, might need a bit of sprucing up,
Yeah.
but they're functional and often. A lot of potential hiding in plain sight.
And our sources were really hammering home that potential angle, especially for investors, because apparently the right renovations can bump a Class B right up to Class A status.
100%. Imagine, right, you find a Class B in a neighborhood that's suddenly the place to be. Put in some work, maybe snag a cool tech startup as your anchor tenant. Boom, you've got yourself a hot property, and that means profit.
So it's like flipping houses, but with like way higher stakes. We're talking HGTV for tycoons level stuff.
Exactly. And it's not just about making bank either. Class B buildings, they usually attract a different kind of tenant. Ones who aren't so hung up on fancy extras, they want practical, and they don't want to be paying an arm and a leg for it.
Right. Those mid-market clients that Michael Linton was talking about, they're doing well for themselves, but maybe not household names yet.
Exactly. They're thinking about layout, parking,
Yeah.
keeping those rent costs reasonable. A rooftop garden is nice, but it ain't paying the bills.
It's all about the right fit, yeah. Now, when we get to Class C buildings, our sources used phrases like substantial renovation, below market rents. It doesn't exactly scream prime real estate at first glance, does it?
Here's the thing. Class C isn't a bad word. Just means these places might need a little extra love, some vision, like those hidden gem restaurants might not look like much from the outside, but inside, magic. It's not like those home makeover shows, where they just slap on some paint and call it a day. Those below-market rents can be tempting, but then you got to factor in, like, what if the whole place needs rewiring or the plumbing's from the Stone Age?
Okay, so less dream home, more like money pit potential. Except instead of a fixer-upper, it's your entire investment portfolio on the line.
Hit the nail on the head. Due diligence is key here, especially with Class C. But for those who, like, see potential others don't, these buildings, they could be a gold mine.
We've been talking about these classifications like they're set in stone, but our sources mention something interesting. It's all relative, right? Depends on where you are.
100%. Something that's Class A in, say, a smaller city, that might be Class B, and if a place like Chicago. It's about knowing the market. How much space is out there? Who's looking for it?
So comparing apples and oranges, or maybe like Chicago deep dish versus New York style pizza, both good, but totally different ballgame.
Exactly. And a smart investor knows that location, it ain't just the address. It's the whole picture. Who lives there? What's changing? What might be built 5 years down the line?
Like those online dating profiles, photos might be great, but you got to read the bio, maybe check their Spotify Wrapped, see if there's actually a connection.
Speaking of connections, we haven't even touched on tenant mix. Doesn't decide the building's class on its own, but it makes a difference in how it's seen.
Right, because who wants to be the only one at the party in a suit? Or maybe some people do. I don't know. Never been the suit type myself.
Think of it like this. A Class A building. It's going to attract the big names, right? Law firms, finance guys, tech companies with more money than sense. Their presence, it rubs off on the building, makes it more desirable.
So it's like that exclusive club, gotta know a guy who knows a guy, except the guy is a Fortune 500 company.
And Class B buildings, they attract a different crowd. Startups, creative types, maybe nonprofits, they care more about having a space that works, that sparks ideas, than about granite countertops and fancy art.
It's finding your people, right? That group where everyone gets it, pushes each other, and maybe grabs a beer after work without judging your craft brewery t-shirt.
Exactly. And for some businesses, especially when they're just starting out, Class C can be the perfect incubator.
Low overhead means more room to experiment, right? Take some risks, chase those big, crazy dreams.
Precisely. It all comes down to this. That classification, it's just one piece of the puzzle. It's the potential, the vision. That's what really determines if a building's a success story.
So for our listeners out there, maybe they're thinking, hey, I've got a killer startup idea, or man, I need a new office. This one's killing my vibe. What should they be taking away from all this Class A, B, C stuff?
I'll tell you, the biggest thing is don't judge a book by its cover,
Yeah.
right? Like we said it about those Class C buildings, but it's true for any of them. Don't just go by what you see from the street.
Dig a little deeper, yeah. Every building's got a story, a history. Sometimes the best ones are hidden under a few layers.
100%. And ask questions. Talk to the real estate people, do your homework, shop around a little. Knowledge is power, especially when you're talking about this much money.
And hey, if you're here in the Chicago area, our guy Michael Linton, he's seen it all, right? You've probably got stories for days about these buildings.
Oh, yeah. I've seen some wild stuff happen in this market. Chicago, it's always changing, always keeping you on your toes, which is what makes it so exciting.
That's what I'm talking about. We've covered some serious ground here, from those high-rise hotshots to those diamond-in-the-rough Class Cs. Looking back, what's standing out to you?
You know, for me, it's how connected the right space and business success really are. The office you choose, it makes a difference. It impacts who you hire, the energy of the place, how people see your whole company.
It's like that feeling you get. Sometimes you walk into a place and you just know, this is it, this is home.
Exactly. And that feeling, finding that, that's what makes all the research, the back and forth, worth it in the end.
Couldn't have said it better myself. So on that note, we'll leave our listeners with this next time you walk into an office, any office. Take a second, think about its story. What's its deal? Class A superstar. Class B underdog. Maybe even a Class C just waiting for its time to shine. You might be surprised what you find out.
Get out there and explore.